Krishna as a subject matter, they are always very relishable, very attractive to hear. And it is like a festival for the mind. Tadeva Shashwan Manaso Mahotsavam. All of us are looking forward to festivals as a time for celebration. So, what is the festival for the mind? When the mind comes in contact with the transcendental sound vibration of Krishna's name, form, pastimes, paraphernalia, that causes jubilation for the mind. And therefore, the sages are saying, Vayam tu na vitrapyam uttama shloka vikrame yakshrimatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. That we can go on eternally hearing about these pastimes without getting satiated. So there is one word called dissatisfied and another word called unsatisfied. So when you hear about Krishna, then it is so good that you are never satisfied. And then when you are bored and you have had enough of something, it is called dissatisfied. So therefore when you hear, like for example many years ago, in 2008, I had started, shloka class for some of our VTA boys, youth boys who were staying in the temple. And I found that the attendance was low, so to inspire them at the end, I started distributing the Mangalarti sweet rice, which was offered in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock. So this was before they went to job. So we had scheduled 6:30 to 7, so shloka class, ending with, nice, cool, attractive, delicious, sweet rice, but only for those who attend the full session. So it was a good inspiration, it worked. There was full attendance. But somehow this was just before I got into Eco Village and everything, and then I got busy, and then this shloka class did not continue beyond 4 months. For 3 to 4 months we had it. In 2008. Shloka class stopped. The sweet rice distribution is still going on. Because it was every Friday. Once a week on Friday. So just last month I was giving a class in the VTA. And then, they said it is time for sweet rice distribution. So when you have taste for something, you don't need any systems to keep it going. That's spontaneous. So therefore, there are two types of faith. Faith which is based on Shastra, Shastriya Shraddha, and faith which is based on Lobha or greed. So therefore, both these kinds of faith are what is known as the seed for bhakti. When you have faith based on Shastra or scripture, or faith out of spontaneous greed to be attracted towards Krishna. So when there is attraction towards Krishna which is spontaneous, that is called the Ragatmika bhakti of the Brajavasis, for whom attraction to Krishna is their soul. Following in the footsteps of such Brajavasis, when we also try to model our bhakti, they become like our role models. So when you practice bhakti holding the Brajavasis as your role models, that is called Raganubhava. And then when we find that we do not have that kind of spontaneity, but we want to be attracted towards Krishna, so then you follow certain model as given in scripture. So that is the Shastriya Shraddha. So both these kinds of Shraddha are the pure form of Shraddha. The pure seed. Because only when the seed is pure, the fruit will be pure. If the seed is GMO, then the fruit will also be, you know what that means. So therefore, other kinds of desires, which they come in, in exchange for bhakti, then that is genetically modified seed. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So that bij, the quality of the bij has to be very pure. So what is that quality? In exchange for bhakti, what do I aspire for? Nothing. The only reason I practice bhakti, the only reason I come here on Sundays, the only reason I chant my rounds, the only reason I hear Bhagavatam or study or worship deities is to uncover my natural attraction of the soul towards Krishna. That's all. Krishna is all attractive. It is my problem, I am not attractive. It is not his problem. He is all attractive. Right? So therefore, when Shanda and Amarka are frustrated and they chastise Prahlad, so who taught you all this? Why you are always saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? So Prahlad Maharaj says, Yatha Brahmayati Ayo Brahman Swayam Akarsha Sannidho Tatha me Vidyate Chetas Chakrapani Yadriche. That as iron filings get attracted to magnet automatically, the soul automatically get attracted to Krishna. When the iron filing is covered by rust, then it doesn't get attracted. So there is something artificial which is covering that. So therefore, we come to practice bhakti for what purpose? So that we get spontaneously attracted towards Krishna. That's the whole idea of practice of bhakti with a pure intention. So there are two things, intention and action. So there are activities which we may perform. Activities of singing, offering arti, chanting, various kinds of other services. But that is not bhakti. The main aspect of bhakti is the intention with which we approach Krishna. So therefore it is the desire which we are offering to the Lord. And when we talk about the topic simple living and high thinking, it also begins with simple thinking, which is to not have any other desire except to please Krishna and to be attracted towards Krishna. That is the only desire. So there Rupa Goswami says, Anya Bilashita Shunya Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. So the primary characteristic of bhakti is Anukulena Krishna. Favorable, attitude favorable, intention favorable to Krishna. So when Yashoda Mai picks up the stick and makes Krishna cry, that is more pleasing to Krishna than when Duryodhan cooks Chappan Bhog and invites Krishna. So externally, the Chappan Bhog of Duryodhan appears to be a more powerful offering, that he is trying to please Krishna. Giving somebody delicious food is actually very pleasing, and to chastise someone is displeasing. But Yashoda Mai's chastisement of Krishna is pleasing to Krishna than Duryodhan's offering of this Chappan Bhog. Why? The intention is pure. So therefore, the whole process of high thinking begins with this concept that I do not have any other desire apart from pleasing Krishna. And this particular refining of the desires, like you have oil refinery. So you try to purify all the impurities and then create oil of a certain purity. So similarly, the entire process of bhakti is nothing but purifying our consciousness and purifying our heart of other superfluous desires. That's the whole idea, which is the basis or the foundation for the Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho ahobhir nakalir viduyate sudha sudhara madhuram pade pade dine dine chandana chandra shetanam yasho yashoda tanesya diyate. Rupa Goswami in Padyavali quotes that in the heat, two things are very attractive: Chandan and Chandra. Sandalwood and moonshine. Similarly, in this age of Kali, where the material desires create so much of heat in the heart, the desires to enjoy create so much of agitation. What creates the cooling effect is the hearing and chanting of the glories of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Can you decrease the bass and tone a little more? Tone you increase, bass you decrease. Volume slightly you increase. So, with this background, I'll begin with a small story. One disciple of Srila Prabhupada had a desire that Prabhupada was always using one suitcase, small white suitcase. And this devotee felt that it will be a good souvenir for me to have as a Mahaprasad. So rather than directly asking, he thought, okay, let me somehow trick in a way that I get that. So he purchased a huge big suitcase. And he thought that by seeing this, Prabhupada will give me his small suitcase. So he took the big suitcase and came to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, this is a gift from me for you. Prabhupada said, oh, very nice. He opened the big suitcase, put the small suitcase and So when Prabhupada did that, he got totally bewildered. He didn't know what to do. Then Prabhupada took the suitcase in his hand and stood right in front of the mirror and looked to him and said, how do you think I look? He said, very nice. Prabhupada took a tour around the room once, twice, and then he said, what do you want, a small white suitcase? Yeah, that's what I wanted. Prabhupada said, then be straightforward. Why are you going round and round? So therefore, when Rupa Goswami defines bhakti, he says, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. Being devoid of any other desires, especially of any tinge of duplicity. Jnana, karma, adi, anavratam. So therefore, achievements add to our ego. Accumulation of knowledge adds to the ego. Attaining perfection in any activity also is a festival for the ego. But to follow and submit to the desires of another living person who decides to rule over your consciousness and mind and enforces his desire over yours, that is one of the most painful for the conditioned soul if he tries to resist it. So therefore, in the pastime of the Brajavasis, in one purport, it is described, control is seen as control when there is resistance to that control. So Krishna was also controlling the Brajavasis, but through his desire and love. So what is the difference? Krishna was telling Nanda Maharaj, don't do this. Lift the Govardhan. Worship the Govardhan. One moment, plans changed. The Brajavasis were not given opportunity to think also. So Nanda Maharaj could have neglected it, but he decided to follow Krishna. And the result of following that was huge rainfall. Practically there was massive devastation. Everything got finished. All of the Brajavasis' property got finished. And Krishna lifted the Govardhan and everybody came under the Giriraj. But not one Brajavasi looked behind to see, how is my property? Is it still safe? So every devotee has seen paintings of Krishna lifting the Govardhan and Brajavasi standing underneath. But they fail to realize the significance that it is not easy to be absorbed in Krishna when my whole life is going for a toss. So practically all of the Brajavasis' property was finished. They had no idea what was going to happen. They didn't know how long this will continue. Now when we are hearing Katha, we know 7 days, 7 nights. But when Indra started the shower, he didn't give a notice. Okay, Brajavasis, for 7 days, 7 nights, this is going to go on, okay? Now, at that moment, it was uncertainty. In that total scene of uncertainty, they were totally absorbed in Krishna, standing under the Govardhan Giriraj, glancing upon Krishna's lotus face, making a statement that in our life, our relationship with you means more than everything else. And in order to maintain and nourish our relationship with you, we are willing to pay any price. And therefore, the only thing we care for is how we are attracted to you and to your will and to your desire. So therefore, I was sharing the other day, to follow the word of God is difficult. More difficult to follow than the word of God is to follow the will of the Vaishnavas. Because the word of God is such that you can close the book. Okay, very heavy. Heavy verse, close it. And I can go to sleep on it. But the will of the Vaishnavas is dynamic. They are right there, following up. What's going on? Is it not? So therefore, it's more difficult. But you cannot start practicing bhakti till you come into the arena and allow yourself to be controlled by the will of the Vaishnavas. And therefore, coming into bhakti sangam is a different concept than beginning to practice bhakti. Because coming into a hospital is different from treatment starting. Because even within the hospital there is cafeteria. No, there is games parlor, there may be a gift shop, there may be just chairs to sit and wait, there may be consulting OPD with the doctor. You know, you're doing all that things, that doesn't mean the treatment has begun. So when devotees just start coming into the circle of Sangha, Satsanga, start wearing tilak, kantimala, start practicing this and that. So one should not fool oneself into the illusion that my bhakti has begun. I have come into the hospital. I have started coming in the association of bhaktas. Bhakti begins when gradually we allow the false ego to be punctured willingly, happily. Already you seem like bewildered. Right? So therefore, this is a very important point that today we are going to discuss the sweet relationship between Krishna and his devotees. And that sweet relationship is established based on the devotee's willingness to submit and reciprocate with Krishna's will. So, I'll begin discussing from the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the pastime begins with the Pandavas. So although the most famous pastime of Bhagavatam is the Ras Leela, but the Bhagavatam begins with Krishna dealing with the Pandavas. And the first theme as part of the pastime and the story of Bhagavatam is conflict. Conflict, and not between Devas and Asuras. Conflict amongst Krishna's very, very close devotees. Major difference of opinion is the beginning theme of Bhagavatam. Because Krishna is preparing you for simple living, high thinking. Because high thinking begins when you are able to tolerate multiple thinkings or differential thinkings, variety of thinkings, variety of opinions. And that's a beautiful pastime where Ashwatthama has just killed the sleeping sons of Draupadi. This is another, myth which people have. If I come to Hindu temple, worship Krishna, everything will be good. Be good, do good. But Krishna is not guaranteeing that everything will be good. Anything can happen. So Arjuna, his own son got killed, Abhimanyu, and now Draupadi's other sleeping sons got killed. And Krishna is right there. So therefore, we come to temple not to make Krishna submit to our will, but to learn how we can get the practice of submitting to his will. So when Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna, and then after that the battle began, and Krishna spoke one of the shlokas which said, Kaunte pratiyanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. And then during the battle, Abhimanyu, he got killed. Abhimanyu got killed. And then Arjuna was crying. So Krishna came right next to Arjuna, and Krishna started crying. So Arjuna looked at Krishna and said, my son died, I am crying, why are you crying? And Krishna said, I just spoke the whole Gita to you. After hearing the whole Gita, how the soul is eternal, still you are crying, seeing that I am crying. Then what did you understand? So if we think that, okay, by practicing spirituality, everything will turn out auspicious. So Krishna is beginning the Bhagavatam by saying that if you want to get connected to this university which I am running, the Prema Bhakti University, right? PhD. Become Paramhams Das. So, before you join, please know what has happened to previous graduates. What they have gone through. So after you hear that, you consider whether you still want admission or not. Otherwise, I have my other associates, 33 crore demigods. You can go anywhere. I am not saying you must come to me. Once you come to me, there is a price you have to pay for being attracted to the all-attractive. So therefore, the Bhagavatam begins with this pastime of the Pandavas' children being destroyed, all of them being killed. The most difficult pain to go through for anybody. At that time, Ashwatthama, he realizes that I have committed a grave crime. He tries to run away. Arjuna chases him, and Arjuna is about to shoot the arrow. Ashwatthama wants to prevent Arjuna from attacking. He shoots with the Brahmastra. And when Arjuna sees the Brahmastra, he looks at Krishna and says, Krishna Krishna Mahabhavo Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvam Eko Dahyamananam Apavargosi Samsmrte. Then my dear Krishna, you can prevent a person from fear. You can protect a person from fear, and therefore you can award fearlessness. Please save me in this situation where this terrific Brahmastra is attacking me. Its glaring effulgence is infallible. At that moment, Krishna comes forward, and by his own power, Krishna retracts this Brahmastra, and then ultimately Arjuna arrests Ashwatthama. And now Krishna tells Arjuna, because Ashwatthama committed such a heinous crime, you must kill him. Bhima is totally for it, naturally. Bhima is always very aggressive. He wants to punish Ashwatthama. Then Arjuna turns to Draupadi, and Draupadi is saying that I am a mother and I know what pain one goes through when a son is killed. I do not want Kripi to go through this. So please do not kill him. Yudhishthira also agrees. So you have Bhima and Krishna on one side, and you have Draupadi and Yudhishthira on another side. And that's the beginning of Bhagavatam. Difference of opinion. And why it is interesting? Krishna is right there. Krishna is at the center of this difference of opinion. Why? He wants to make a statement that do not think that the practice of bhakti is challenging because I am not present. You may think, oh, if only Krishna was here, I could have directly asked him, what should I do? Because that's the infallible opinion. So Achyuta is right there in the midst of all of them. But he is not giving any opinion. He wants to show, even if I am personally present, the devotees have to go deep within to get the answers. Do not look for answers without, look for answers within. And therefore, in the practice of bhakti, all of us will experience what is called as dharma sampat, or challenges, difficulties. What should I do at this stage? Now I'm at crossroads. What should I do? If only Krishna was here, I could have directly asked. I don't know whom to ask, what decision to take. So therefore, all of us go through moment to moment decision-making dilemma. And here, Krishna is revealing the solution to that is you have to look deeper within and look for solutions within by the practice of bhakti, and gradually your intelligence will be awakened. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mami upayanti. So therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, I am not going to give you the answer. I am right here, but you decide. So therefore, the whole process of Krishna consciousness is how we become purified in association, and then by the process of that purification, we are actually able to understand Krishna's will by going deeper. So therefore, the Bhagavatam begins by revealing you cannot understand Bhagavatam just by studying. Bhaktya Bhagavatam grahyam na buddhya na tu tikaya. Not through intelligence, not through commentary, but mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says in Gita, I am the source of memory, I am the source of forgetfulness. So when Krishna is pleased, he reveals the knowledge from within. So therefore, we should aspire for practice of our bhakti with sincerity, non-duplicity, honesty, and depend on Krishna, and then he will reveal from within. We have one devotee who lost his job, and he was wondering, few interviews, nothing happened. He had almost given up hope. So after 6 months of being without job, he got an interview call for being the country head of some firm. And it was like a 3-4 hour drive outside the city in some suburb where he had to go, another town. So he thought, anyway, I'm not going to get. I have tried enough. Now I will just depend on Krishna. So all through the journey, he put on some lecture tape. It was our Kartik Yatra tape. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving mercy to Pratap Rudra. He was hearing. Naukri to lagne nahi wala, chhodo. Bhakti to karte. So he went all the way, and then he was the last candidate for the interview. It was like a very prestigious position. More than 100 candidates had come, and all through the day interviews were going on. So when he entered, so even the panel was bored after a full day of interview. They said, okay, you're going to be the country head. What is your leadership sutra? You know, if you're managing a team, what will be your leadership sutra? So he also was like in a forget it mode. In a trinadapi sunichen, tarorapi sahishnuna, amani namanadena, kirtaniya sadhari. They said, what? What is that? So he explained, humility and tolerance. Without that, nothing works. All other leadership sutras fail. And they got interested. Wow, this is really far out. What is this all about? And then he started speaking about Mahaprabhu and Prataprudra. And all day, maybe even the panel was bored with technical interviews. So they enjoyed the katha. For half an hour they were hearing and asking questions and this and that. So he came out satisfied. And anyway, I'm not going to get. But at least I spoke some good katha. And in 1 week he was surprised that they appointed him. He got the selection. So I don't recommend this as a SOP for your next job interview. But I'm saying that when Krishna has a certain plan, how he reveals that plan, Krishna wants us to accept that. So basically, Bhagavatam is nothing but a fast-flowing river of Krishna's will. The pure devotees, like the Brajavasis, are like fishes swimming inside that river. They have submitted themselves totally to the will. They are moving with that will. The demons are trying to dam that flow. And they get damned by the influence of Krishna's will. And then there are the sadhakas like us who see the river and wondering, should I jump in? Should I not? How's the water? Warm, cold, hot? It's too swift, too fast, too unpredictable. So therefore, amongst jnana, karma, yoga and bhakti, bhakti in one sense is the most difficult. Why? Because it is the most painful for the false ego. Right? I was with Radhanath Maharaj once and we were on a site somewhere. And he was telling me, some people say it is difficult to work with me. It's heavy to work with me. But you know what? If you are humble, it is very easy to work with me. But that is what is most difficult. Right? So therefore, here, Krishna is right in the midst of the Pandavas. And just imagine, anything goes wrong in the community of devotees, everybody starts questioning why this happened, why that happened, why this should not happen. Is Krishna in control or not? What society is this? Is it Krishna consciousness or some other consciousness? So Krishna is right there with the Pandavas. And so many episodes are happening. The Pandavas did not ask a single question to Krishna. Why are you doing this to us? So therefore, one must study the first canto deeply before going to other cantos, to first appreciate the character of the Pandavas. Right? And we just hear as if like some katha, some third party. But if you invest your life and replace the Pandavas' life with your lives, you'll realize how difficult it is, what the Pandavas went through. And so, at this point, Arjuna gets the inspiration from within and he takes away the jewel of Ashwatthama. And therefore, in the practice of Krishna consciousness, please know there is a limit to which your Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, counselor, mentor, any outside person can actually make a decision for you. After a certain stage, Krishna tests how much of the philosophy have you digested and understood. And then to the extent we please Krishna, to that extent he gives the intelligence from within to make that decision. So therefore, this 7th chapter of the Bhagavatam, of the Ashwatthama's punishment, is a revelation that we should not expect things in life to be black and white. And we should not expect every situation in the pursuit of perfection to be perfect. We are all on the path to perfection. But on the path to perfection, we will be facing continuous episodes of imperfection. And therefore, how can 4 pure devotees of Krishna be divided, 2 on one side, 2 on another side? Have they understood the philosophy from the same person or what? Are they Krishna devotees? So therefore, expect variety in opinions to exist. That's not sin. But how will you harmonize it? The harmonizing of that depends on your maturity. And therefore, the Bhagavatam begins by explaining that there is no shortcut to understand Krishna's will. One has to follow the process diligently, seriously, and sincerely. When you practice that, gradually Krishna reveals from within. So there was one initiation ceremony, and after the initiation, devotees were discussing, my name is Brajendra Nandan Das, Brajanand Das, Shyam Sundar Das. I've got a nice Braj name. Your name is Paramatma Das. Very general. Even there, this kind of conflict began. I am superior, you are inferior. So Prabhupada said, the important part of the name is Das. Which sounds to be a 3-letter word, but more difficult in real life experience. Extremely challenging to be Das. Because if you knew what that word is before you got initiated, you will think twice. But majority of us get initiated thinking that, becoming Das is like entering a hotel. Then we realize it is a hospital. The mood with which you enter a hotel is different from the mood with which you enter a hospital. So you think, okay, in menu, I'll choose this, I'll choose this, I'll choose this, I'll choose that. So you enter into Krishna conscious satsang thinking, oh, I have so many options for seva available. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. So you don't realize that I can do this is not seva. That is called karma. What you want me to do, that is seva. So therefore we enter in the mode of hotel and then realize that, oh, this is not what it is. So So therefore there is a difference between club and satsang. Club exists for my entertainment. Satsang exists for his entertainment. And his entertainment may come at the expense of my entertainment. And today, because the topic is high thinking, so I'm trying to take you a little high. So the advantage is those who are experienced know what I'm speaking about. And those who are new, they may be wondering what it is. So both ways it is safe. What I am speaking is password protected. The password is number of years you have spent in the movement. So therefore, when a person comes into a club, the mood is, let me enjoy. So initially, to look at satsang as an alternative form of entertainment for weekends is good, is alright. But we have to realize that satsang is beyond that. And therefore, when you see the Pandavas, they exist for Krishna's pleasure. They exist to facilitate Krishna's will. And so, now that, das basically means one who is servant. So Hamsadutta Prabhu, before joining Prabhupada, he is from Germany. So his name was Hans Carey. And because he was from Germany living in America, they were making fun of this name. Because when you are from one part and you go in another part, socially the name sounds funny. Right? There are people from South, like I am from South, I got a long name. And I stayed in MP, Bhilai, Chhattisgarh. So everyone would get bewildered. What is this long name? Like South Indian names are Kanakapati, Apalachalam, Sankaralingam, Sakapati Raju. So when you go to make passport, it is not 4 people, it is 1 person. And you go to China, and the name is Hu. Name Lord. It's the beginning, it's the end. Like that. You want to share? Please. So, he was thinking that, everybody is making fun of my German name. Let me get initiated fast. So he got initiated. And Prabhupada said, your name is Hamsa Duta Adhikari. So he said, what is that? Prabhupada said, your old name, Hans add Duta. Hans Duta. Your second name, Carey, add Adhi Carey. Even after initiation, name remains same. Prabhupada, what is the meaning of this name? Prabhupada said, read Bhagavatam. Figure out. So he read and studied, he couldn't get it. Prabhupada was in one initiation and he was talking Kirtanam means this, Brahmanand means this. So immediately he said, Hamsadutta was sitting there. He said, Prabhupada, who is Hamsadutta? Prabhupada said, you. What is the main part of the name? Das. What is the meaning of das? To be a servant. So Bhagavat Bhaktita Sarvam iti utsarja vidherapi kainkari Krishna padaika ashriyatvam sharanagati. Sharanagati. Gati means journey. So it is a journey to take shelter. 3 aspects of surrender. First, to accept Krishna as the goal. Lotus feet of Krishna is the goal. Second, bhakti is the only means by which I attain that. Third, anything which comes in the way, I give up. Iti utsrijya vidhe. So therefore, we find that the Pandavas are an emblem or a symbol of this kind of surrender. Accepting Krishna's will as all in all. Now, the next chapter goes where Ashwatthama is such a crazy fellow. He throws one more Brahmastra. And this Brahmastra is attacked, pointed towards the womb of Uttara. And in the womb of Uttara is Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu's son, whose name is Parikshit. So Uttara goes running towards Krishna and says, Pahi Pahi Mahayogim Deva Deva Jagatpate. Oh my dear Lord, please protect me. Nanyat Tvat Abhayam Pashye Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. You are the only source of fearlessness. What is the definition of fear? Krishna's plan minus my plan is equal to fear. Since all of you are engineers, you know, you like mathematical equation. Krishna's plan minus my plan, if there is a remainder, it is fear. Depending on how large the remainder is, so you realize that there is something wrong. More will be the fear. So, here, the Pandavas are going through this intense difficulty, one after another. And as soon as Krishna sees, he enters into the womb and he protects Parikshit. Angushtam, Matram, Amalam, Spurat, Puratamolinam, Apipi Darshanam, Shyamam, Tadita Vasasam, Achyutam. Krishna enters in the form of a small thumb. And the first darshan which Parikshit has is of Krishna in the womb. All of us are used to sharing with others how I came to Krishna consciousness. Someone got preached through devotee in college campus, someone got prasadam, someone was born in ISKCON, how I came. So like that, Maharaj Parikshit, who preached to him? Krishna. Directly. He didn't get a Krishna book. He got Krishna's look. Directly. Krishna glanced upon him, revived him. And therefore Bhagavatam says, there was another name, an alias name for Parikshit. Tasmat namna Vishnurata iti loke bhavishyati. Na samdeho mahabhagavato. His name was Vishnu Rata, one who was protected by Lord Vishnu. That is his nickname. So you can imagine the person who was protected by Lord Vishnu, and at the peak of his youth, the same king is cursed to die in 7 days and 7 nights. So he did not make a big issue out of it. My name is Vishnu Rata. How can I be destroyed? How is it possible? This is a big scam. Krishna, is supposed to be Vishnu Rata. He protects me. When I was in the womb of my mother, he protected me. Where did he go now? So Krishna wants to say, my will is dynamic. And my will is not subjected to anybody's opinion. My will is not based on majority vote. My will is dependent on my will. I decide, I do it. So when Parikshit was in the womb, Krishna wanted the Brahmastra to be destroyed and Parikshit to be born. In a few years, Krishna's will changed. He wanted Parikshit to die and Bhagavatam to be born. And therefore, he decided to sacrifice Parikshit. So therefore, to be part of Krishna's will is not easy. So one of the reasons why in course of practice of Krishna consciousness one may face difficulties is one may not have realistic idea of the difficulty involved in getting this degree in this university. Right? The admission to this university may be easy. The graduation from this university is very difficult. Right? And therefore, here the Pandavas are demonstrated as a great example. Kunti is now praying. Namasye purusham tvadyam purusha prakrate param alaksham sarvabhutanam antar bahir avasthitam. So Krishna is leaving towards Dwarka, and Kunti is stopping Krishna from going and saying, you cannot go. Why? Because we are dependent on you. And therefore she says, Alaksham sarvabhutanam antar bahir avasthitam. You are situated within and without. You are situated everywhere. We are dependent on you. We have dedicated our lives to you. And so she says, Maya javanika channam agyadhokshajam abhyayam na lakshase mudadrisho nato natya dharoyata. That majority of the people are unable to see you because they are covered by the curtain of Maya. Prabhupada on a morning walk in Venice Beach, he looks at the ocean and someone turns to Prabhupada and says, Prabhupada, the ocean looks so beautiful, no? Prabhupada said, yes, from a distance. When you go near, ocean will catch you. And then Prabhupada says, Maya is also like that. Maya also looks very attractive from distance. When you come closer, Maya will trap you, Maya will drown you. We were in a yatra to Jagannath Puri. And many years ago, 2000, many years ago, 2003 or 2002, 2001 maybe. And when we were entered into the ocean, it was a very stormy day. The ocean waves were like really heavy. And Radhanath Maharaj was not coming out for a long time. And then his servant went inside and asked, Maharaj, everybody is finishing their swimming. When are you coming out? And he said, my gamcha has been taken away by the ocean. The towel has been taken away by the ocean waves. How can I come out? Devotees are standing with cameras. Fair enough. So the servant went, gave him another gamcha. Then he came out. And then he said, when I entered the ocean, I was a Gaudiya sannyasi. When I came out, I would have been Naga Baba. And then he said, make announcement that nobody should enter into the ocean. It is very risky today. And then we made the announcement. We don't recommend anyone to enter deep because the ocean waves are very strong. And there was this one devotee who was overconfident. And I was telling him personally, don't go. He said, ocean and me, best friends. I have grown up next to the ocean. I have grown up swimming in the ocean. Nothing can happen. And he went inside and the waves were very powerful. They started pushing him. It was scary. For some time he was like trying, then he realized, I'm drowning. And then he raised his hands, started waving. Devotees thought he's doing Haribol. And then someone said, no, there is panic on his face, go help him. And then we told the lifeguard. So lifeguard entered, got hold of him, brought him out. So, I was really in anxiety. What will happen now? So they took out all the water from his stomach. And then, I told him, give some donation to this, lifeguard, he has saved you. He took out 150 rupees. I said, he has saved your life. Give a little more. What? At least 500 you give. What is this 150 or 3? He says, no, I have read Radhesham Prabhu's book. The cost of the body is 150 rupees. 6-session course. So he was using philosophy to his advantage. Then I asked him, repeated announcements were made. Why you went inside? And his answer was interesting. He said, I am so expert, I could never imagine that I will get trapped in the ocean. I am so expert I have never got in trouble in water. How could I imagine that today I will be in trouble? So therefore, the biggest danger is for the expert, not for the neophyte. कौन फंसता है? उस्ताद. So one who doesn't know swimming, if you inspire him also, please go inside and swim there. Water hitting my feet, sufficient. I am happy, satisfied. You go. Why? Because they know that they do not know how to swim. So only one who is expert takes risk. And when he takes risk, he gets in trouble. So therefore, when initially we are connecting with the process, we are careful about various things. After some time, we start thinking, same, Krishna, Maya, Maya, Krishna. We'll handle, no problem. Someone told Prabhupada that, we are chanting the holy name, sometimes we fall into Maya. Prabhupada said, you are always in Maya, sometimes you fall into Krishna. So here, Kunti Maharani is saying, Maya Javanika Channam Agyadhokshajam Avyayam. The covering of Maya is such that only when Krishna releases that covering, you can see through. Otherwise, we will be covered over. We cannot see what is there beyond. And so in the next verse, it's a famous verse. You can chant behind me. Krishnaya Vasudevaya,
Krishnaya Vasudevaya,
Devaki Nandanaya cha,
Devaki Nandanaya cha,
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya,
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya,
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
So, Krishna becomes more and more accessible to his devotees. Kunti is explaining Krishna's merciful nature. A powerful person in this world, when he gets power, when he becomes rich, when his opulences grow, he becomes more and more inaccessible. Approaching a powerful person in the world becomes more and more difficult. Whereas Krishna is such a powerful person that when he appears in his original form as Krishna, rather than becoming inaccessible, he becomes more accessible. Where you will find such a powerful person who is opening himself more and more, increasing access rather than restricting access. So he appeared as Vasudevaya. Krishna was born as a prince in Mathura, right? And Devaki Nandan. But he decided, no, being a prince, people will be very stifled in their reciprocation with me. So therefore he became Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. He became common cowherd boy, so that it becomes easier to reciprocate. Who is it easier to access? A cowherd boy or a prince? Cowherd boy. So he became Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. And then he existed simply to please the senses of all his devotees in Braj. Govindaya Namo Namo. So Kunti Maharani is glorifying Krishna's merciful nature, that you are aspiring for a perfect relationship with the rich and the powerful in this world. When recently some very rich businessmen visited Chowpatty, and there were photos taken, and it went all over. And so many people they were responding saying, "Oh, you're so fortunate." Hey Baba, we are with Krishna every day, with the deities. He's the most powerful compared to any other person of this world. So he is the most powerful, but he becomes the most accessible. And that's what Mahaprabhu is standing here. Panchana sadrisha deha aruna vasan pulaka ashru kampas sweda tahate bhushan. चौदिके सब लोग बोले हरि हरि प्रेमावेश मध्य नृत्य करे गौर हरि केह नाचे केह गाए श्री कृष्ण गोपाल प्रेमते भासिर लोकस्त्री वृद्ध अबाल देखे नित्यानंद प्रभु पाए भक्त गणे ए रूपे नृत्य आगे होवे ग्रामे ग्रामे मत्तस्य में प्राय प्रभु कोल्ला गमन प्रेमावेश याय कुरी नाम संकीर्तन. So Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but his mudra in the form of these beautiful deities. What are the name of the deities?
Shri Nitai Gaur Nataraj.
Shri
Nitai Gaur Nataraj.
Shri Nitai Gaur Nataraj is standing with their arms, inviting everybody. Panchana Sadrisha with his golden complexion. Ulaka Ashru Kampa Sweda Tahate Bhushan. As he's chanting the holy names, he's experiencing symptoms of ecstasy and demonstrating how the holy name of the 16 syllables of Krishna is filled with joy and ecstasy. And therefore, seeing that, so many people are attracted to him. Why? They are attracted by his beauty and by his ecstasy. Everybody was attracted by seeing Mahaprabhu's experience in bhakti. Therefore, Mahaprabhu spent 6 years in South India preaching, but he spent 18 years experiencing bhakti in Gambhira, in Jagannath Puri. So many times people feel preaching Krishna consciousness means to go and tell somebody, chant Hare Krishna, read Gita, do this, do that. No. Preaching means your experience of bhakti is so overwhelmingly blissful that it just floods and pours out. And anyone who comes in contact sees that and they get affected. Because if you're not Krishna conscious, you cannot fake it. And if you are Krishna conscious, you cannot hide it. So therefore the whole idea is that you have to appreciate the practice of Krishna consciousness by experiencing the joy. One of our brahmacharis was distributing books, standing and distributing Gita. Someone came and said, "Ye Gita kyo kharidu main? Why should I buy this?" So, it was already like afternoon and he was waiting for his lunch, so he was not in a good mood. He says, "You read this Gita, you will become happy." So this man said, "But you are looking miserable." That may be so, but हो सकता है आपके ऊपर काम करे. So that is not the idea of preaching. That I am having tough time practicing 16 rounds and 4 principles, and I am looking, और किसको फंसाऊं? You also take. कैसा लगा? मजा आया? अभी तो शुरुआत है. I was in a yatra. I was sharing a room with somebody. So this was many years ago, night, 10 o'clock. I am about to sleep. I see him sitting and there is a pillow and he's looking very angrily towards the pillow. The beads in his hand. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Raat ke 10 baj gaye. 10 mala baki. 10 rounds are remaining." So I said, "Okay, so what? Why are you looking so angry?" "I am thinking," he said, "I am thinking who brought me to ISKCON? How did I land up in this kind of situation?" So if the experience of the practice of bhakti is not relishable, that is the seed of all doubts. And the answer to all doubts is the experience. Pratyaksha avagamam dharamyam susukham kartu So therefore, Kunti Maharani, she says, please repeat after me. Namaha Pankajanabhaya,
Namaha Pankajanabhaya,
Namaha Pankajamaline,
Namaha Pankajamaline,
Namaha Pankajanetraya,
Namaha Pankajanetraya,
Namaste Pankajangraye.
Namaste Pankajangrahe.
So she is glorifying the beauty of Krishna. That all of us are searching for the ultimate beauty. The eyes are searching for that ultimate form which will satisfy us. That form is Krishna's beautiful deity form. Brahmaji says, Chandrika Vishada Smerai Sa Aruna Apanga Vikshitai Swakardhanam Ivaraja Sattvabhyam Srishtripalaka. So when you come in front of the deities, don't think I am looking at the deities. So Brahmaji says the deities are looking at you, and two things happen. When the Lord glances upon you, the glance of the Lord upon you creates spiritual desires for service. Because sometimes you may be thinking, I'm not having enthusiasm to serve. My enthusiasm is going down. I used to be enthusiastic 10 years ago. Nowadays it looks mechanical. Somehow I'm missing something. So many thoughts may be going on. Please know that the power to inject fresh enthusiasm, to create desires to serve, it is the monopoly of the Lord's glance. So when the Lord glances upon us, those desires start manifesting. So it is called Raja. Swakardhanam Iva Raja. Raja means creation, Rajogun. Just like Rajogun, so the eyes are lotus-like, reddish. So that reddish complexion eyes of the Lord, they are like the creative Rajogun of this material world. It symbolizes creation of spiritual desires to serve, newer and newer desires to serve. So one should never think that my practice of bhakti has reached a stalemate, saturation, satiation. It's not going anywhere. No. Krishna's glance can create fresh enthusiasm. And when you begin serving, you go through challenges, you go through difficulty, and then suddenly you start thinking, why these things are happening? I did not expect devotees to behave like this. I did not expect ISKCON to be like this. And I did not expect Prabhupada to sit silently and look at all this. This is not good, this is not correct. And so many thoughts may make our enthusiasm go down. And so we feel discouraged. So Prabhupada makes a beautiful statement. He says, devotees may be perplexed while practice of Krishna consciousness. They never become discouraged. So perplexity is allowed, bona fide. Discouragement is not. Perplexity means, now next, what should I do? How should I do? That is perplexity. Discouragement means, why should I chant? Why should I follow? Why should I be in the satsang? Should I continue in the satsang? That is symptom of discouragement. Right? So one of Prabhupada's servants was serving Prabhupada some kachoris. And Prabhupada suddenly got the mood and said, serve me this kachori tomorrow. I want to see after 24 hours how the kachoris are. So the servant took the kachoris down in the kitchen. There was one lady who was cooking and kept it in the kitchen and told this lady devotee, Prabhupada wants to taste this kachori tomorrow. I am keeping this. keep it safe. She said, I am busy. And ISKCON temple, kitchen, you keep prasadam. What are the chances it will be there next day? So she said, no, I can't take responsibility. He says, no, you must take responsibility. Nothing will happen, don't worry. So she didn't want to be in charge. He made her in charge. Nobody knew who's in charge. Typical scenario. I don't want to do it. No, only you can do it. You have to do it. No, yes. So the next day he comes. Where is the kachori? She said, how do I know? I told you not to keep it. But I said, you are the in charge, you must take care. No. So the main point, kachori gone. As expected. So he said, no, what do I tell Prabhupada? She was cooking, she was busy. And she was focused on her service. She was not empathetic towards his service. That he is supposed to go and report to Prabhupada. Where is the kachori? So she said, just tell Prabhupada, some cat must have eaten the kachori. Cats keep coming to the kitchen. So he went up, came down. She was still cooking, so she smilingly asked, so what did Prabhupada say? And he said, Prabhupada said, whoever is saying cat has eaten, they must have eaten. So she felt very offended. She started thinking, how can Prabhupada say like this? I have given my life for ISKCON. I had never had even a single intention which was negative. How can anyone say like this? Blah, blah, blah. And the false ego starts rearing its head. And you start, creating a whole kind of conspiracy in the mind. At that moment she thought, okay, what is the important thing? That Prabhupada must be served. He wants kachori. That's the main issue. What he said is a secondary issue. So she goes to another kitchen, makes some kachoris, sends it. Prabhupada eats 5 or 6 and tells the servant, this was better than yesterday's. So, when we face service in any situation, there will be difficulties, challenges. And many times when challenges come, we become discouraged. Discouraged means we start questioning, why am I in Sangha? So Prabhupada says, devotee may become perplexed. How to serve? What should I do in this situation? But to come to the level of discouragement means one has really not become fully philosophically convinced about Krishna consciousness. Right? So therefore, Bahu Parishrama Chandana Remuna Anila Anand Badila Mane Dukkhana Ganila Pariksha Korite Gopal Koila Agya Dan Pariksha Hoila Sheshe Hoila Devavan. So all of you know the pastime of Chandan Yatra of Madhavendra Puri. And you have seen darshan of Gopalji with Chandan during Chandan Yatra. This is the Chandan Yatra period we just got over. So what is the speciality of Chandan? If a block of Chandan I keep on the table here, will I be able to appreciate its quality? When will I appreciate the quality of the Chandan? Chandan means sandalwood. For the sandalwood's real potency to be extracted, what is required? No. It is in the block, Baba. From block, how will you apply in the body?
You have to rub it.
You have to scrub it. Okay, then there are 2 ways. One is gentle and one is vigorous. So gentle, you just little bit. So which is going to bring the more Chandan out? Gentle or vigorous?
Vigorous.
Soft or hard?
Hard.
So the fragrance comes out when there is vigorous scrubbing. Bahu Parishrama Chandana Remuna Anila Anand Badila Mane Dukkhana Ganila. So Madhavendra Puri had to do lot of tapasya to bring the chandan. And when we do lot of tapasya, sometimes we become very frustrated. And then we start counting all the difficulties I went through to perform this service. That is called dukkha ganila. Keeping account of all the difficulties I went through, just so that I could do this and please you. So that mood is not bhakti. Dukkha na ganila. So whatever we take seriously, we account for it. If money is being earned seriously, you account for the money. Is it not? If somebody is losing weight, they account every calorie. For somebody like a group of our, Gurukul children from Mayapur, they went to this one dharamshala outside Kolkata, and they paid some regular amount per plate and started eating. And they ate and ate and ate so much. The owner had to come and see who's eating so much. Practically finished the whole stock. And he requested them, next time please go to my competitor's place. Don't come here. So they had capacity to eat like anything, still not get affected. So they were not counting how many rotis they are eating or this or that. If you are conscious, you count. So whatever you are conscious of, you keep count. So if you are counting your distresses you have gone through, discomfort you have gone through in a certain service, then the mood is not that of selflessness. So that means when a person goes through difficulty but doesn't even remember it, then the symptom of love begins. So therefore, when there is vigorous scrubbing, then the fragrance comes out. So bhakti means that each one of us have to, like the piece of chandan, allow ourselves to be used as a block of chandan to be scrubbed. The chandan can't scrub on its own. So therefore, pragada premer e subhava achar nijadukka vignadir no pure vichar. That in every relationship there are 4 issues: scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness. Scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness. But when a person goes through all of this and does not get affected and continues serving without bothering about all of these, then he is situated on the path of love. And so here Kunti Maharani, she tells Krishna, Vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syat na punar bhava darshanam. So bhakti is not just sitting together and chanting bhajan and singing all kinds of melodious songs. Bhakti is how I allow myself to be used as an instrument for his pleasure, like chandan. As you said, the scrubbing has to be gentle or vigorous?
Vigorous.
So do we allow ourselves to be scrubbed vigorously by the Vaishnava Satsanga? That will involve that we will go through some pain. But my pain is not to be counted. That is for giving cooling effect and pleasure to the Lord and the devotees. So therefore, this is the context of Kunti Maharani's prayer, where she says, Vipada santu taha shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru. Pandavas went through so much difficulty, so much pain, repeatedly. But Kunti is saying, my dear Lord, please keep giving this again and again. Right? If you see the Pandavas, even in fact, Yudhishthira is telling in 10th canto to Krishna, my dear Lord, in future, when people hear about our story, they may feel fearful of becoming your devotee. Because you have put us through so many tests, so many challenges, so many difficulties. So, in this way, Kunti Maharani is expressing her prayers, and she's saying, Janmaishwari Shuta Shribir Edamana Madapuman Naivarhati Abhidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gochara. My dear Lord Krishna, you are not attracted by material abilities. You are not attracted by high birth, education, skills, competence. You can't impress Krishna with skills. We can only express our dependence on Krishna with our sincerity and submission. And therefore, that sincerity and submission is within the power of each and every soul to express. And that's the good news. That we may be differently endowed with various karmic gifts, but all those karmic abilities have absolutely no role to play in the arena of bhakti. Because bhakti is not action oriented, it is intention oriented. And intention arises from the level of the soul to the mind. And therefore, I remember we were preaching in Grand Medical College, and there was this young student who was constantly preaching, studying Prabhupada books, preaching this, that. I would ask him, are you studying medical books also? How will you pass exam? One day before exam, I saw him in temple, and he was like praying intensely for half an hour. So I asked him, what you were praying? He said, well, I was telling Gopinath, the future of your mission in the campus is in your hands. You decide. I am known as the Hare Krishna person. If I fail, whose business goes? Your business. So that's all. So then, next day was exam. Somehow, Krishna inspired him to study certain portions, and that only came, and he passed. And the day he passed was one my weekly program. So usually in my program, 8 to 10 boys would come during lecture, and 40-50 for prasad. So they would declare very clearly who is more attractive. Not your lecture, but prasad. So that day during lecture, 40 people were sitting. So I checked the room number. I had come to the right room. He said, yes. I said, lecture today? Right? How so many people came for lecture? They said, "Arey, wo pass ho gaya." If he has passed, means God must exist. So we want to figure out who is this Krishna. So then of course later he gave one more shock because he got post-graduation also. But then he compensated, studied well, got gold medal in university. So Krishna does take care of his devotees if one is sincere. And that's most important. Namo akinchana vittaya nivritta gunavrittaye atma ramaya shantaya kaivalya patena. She says, Kunti Maharani, that you are the property of one who thinks they are impoverished. Namo akinchana vrittaya. Right? Sushila sahishnu shanta varanya gambhir. Madhura vachana, madhura cheshta mahadhir. Savar samman karta kwaren savar hit. Kautilya matsarya himsa na jane tara chit. Shri Krishna sharire, Shri Krishna sadharan ye sadguna panchas से सब गुणेर तारे शरीरे निवास चैतन्य नित्यानंद तार परम विश्वास चैतन्य चरित्रे तार परम उल्लास वैष्णवेर गुणग्राही न देखाय दोष काय मने वाक्य करे वैष्णव संतोष. So Kaviraj Goswami, when he is writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, people may ask question, why you have to write one more Chaitanya Charitamrita if Chaitanya Bhagavat already written by Vrindavan Das Thakur? I think today is his disappearance day, appearance day. Today is Vrindavan Das Thakur's either Avirbhav or Tirobhav Divas. So one full chapter in 8th chapter of Adi Lila, Kaviraj Goswami is clarifying his intention. O readers, if you do not have faith in my intention behind writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will not have faith in my action of having produced this book. So I must take the time and effort to communicate that my intention to write Chaitanya Charitamrita is not to supersede Chaitanya Bhagavat, not to demonstrate that I am better than Vrindavan Das Thakur, but what was the context by which I wrote this. So then he says that this Haridas Pandit was the head priest of Govinda Dev. He gave me order. So what were his qualities? He describes. And so he says, his prime quality, that Kautilya, Matsarya, Himsa, na jane tara chit, that Samara Sammana Karta, he would respect everybody, want everybody's welfare, and was beyond Kautilya, duplicity, Matsarya, envy, Himsa, violence, or trying to drag someone down. Na jane tara chit. His mind had no idea about this. And Krishnera, Sadharana Sadguna Panchas, 50 qualities of Krishna were present in him. Most prominent, he had great faith in Mahaprabhu Nityananda and Chaitanya Charitre Tara Parama Ullas. He was experiencing great bliss in narrating Mahaprabhu's pastimes. What gave him that bliss? Vaishnavera Gunagrahi na dekhai dosh. He did not see any faults in the Vaishnavas. So, not seeing faults in the Vaishnavas, not speaking the faults of the Vaishnavas is directly linked to our experience of taste in Bhakti. Kai mane vakya kare Vaishnav santosh. So, if I start seeing, I have this quality, he has this quality, they have this quality, she has that quality. When we start seeing our unique, distinct qualities in terms of what I have, the gap between each one of us will grow. We will see faults. But when we see that what is it that we have in common, we have so many different qualities as per our good and karma, as per our past life, which are different, unique, distinct, and I may claim superiority from others. And to the extent I claim superiority, I don't feel dependent. But there is one thing all of us have in common. What is that? All of us are suffering, yes or no? Are we suffering or not?
Yes.
Are you convinced? Those who are suffering, please raise your hand and say Hari Bol. So this is one area where we are all united. The degree and the flavor of suffering may vary, but we are going through suffering, yes or no?
Yes.
So, when we realize that we are all suffering and I am unable to come out of this suffering by my efforts, and I need others' help to petition Krishna so that he takes us out of suffering. Because when you go, one single man comes in front of a government office and says, Hamari mange, puri karo. Even the security guard will give him a slap and ask him, get lost. But if 100,000 people stand in front of, the government building and start shouting, and the government has to take notice. So, alone, if we petition, Lord may not consider. So when we all come together and say, we are suffering, we need help, yes or no? So that cry out of a common acceptance of defeat, suffering, difficulty, of being helpless, and a petition that I need your help. So in that we are all commonly connected to each other. That unity which spreads across the Vaishnava Sangha, when we are dependent on each other to petition Krishna to relieve us from the suffering condition, to help us cross the ocean of Maya, that is called Sankirtan. So Sankirtan becomes successful when we approach Krishna in a mood of common feeling of helplessness and not feeling of superiority or greatness. I am weak, I am helpless, and we all need your help. With that mood when we approach Krishna, that is called Sankirtan. Kirtan is we sing, San means we are together. We are united in our experience of helpless suffering. We are divided when we meditate on our unique, karmically gifted qualities. And therefore, to the extent we meditate on our helplessness, to that extent, unity comes. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, at this moment, we will take a break for whatever minutes?
15.
Maybe 15 minutes break, and then we'll continue on from where we left off. And then after that, we will have Harinam Sankirtan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.